If you like this video, please consider supporting me on Patreon. For just $1 a month, your name can appear at the beginning of this and many other upcoming videos.
It just seems a pity for unicorns to waste their talents on something so inconsequential. Unicorns wield magic. We are the most powerful ponies in the land.
They weren't even trying to be subtle with that one. I was actually really surprised by just how well written the Summer Sun Setback was. It did feel really off that we were getting an episode about Twilight overcoming her insecurities immediately after an episode about her being insecure over a trivia game. But in the end, it was actually a really fun and well-written episode. Celestia and Luna informed Twilight that they decided to retire officially soon, and that this will be the final Summer Sun celebration. To make sure it's the best one ever, Twilight assigns the others to do some extra tasks to enhance the festival. But little do they know that Chrysalis, Tyrek, and Cozy Glow have arrived to break into the castle, planning on finding a book that will unlock the secrets of Grogar's bewitching bell. One thing that really stands out for me is just how much fun the villains were in this episode. They carry over a lot of strengths they had with them in frenemies, still pulling off some humorous and complex chemistry between each other. But not only are they fun, they're also really cunning and clever. The episode has them coming across as really competent, carefully planning out their moves and how they're going to approach the obstacles. The different ways they use the festival as a diversion feel really well coordinated and intriguing. There's also a few nice bits in the plan that really stand out, like Tyrek only absorbing the needed proportion of magic so the cutie marks don't disappear. Then nobody can tell it was him. Chrysalis in particular comes across as a really good leader to them. She keeps the partners in check, directs the schemes to get into the castle, and at the end of the episode she keeps the group focused on their goal instead of getting distracted by personal ideals. It's really nice to see her in a commanding role after her character was going through a psychotic phase in previous episodes, and the ending gives the trio a really good sense of progression. They worked as a team to achieve a common goal and succeeded while duping the heroes without being noticed. And even if they didn't succeed at messing up the festival, that wasn't their goal. They successfully inconvenienced the good guys and obtained the source of power they were looking for, showing just how threatening they can be when they cooperate. The other characters get some fun bits in this episode too. We have Fluttershy being a mentor to another anxious pony, teaching him to take deep breaths and being there to comfort him when he gets overwhelmed. It really feels like she's grown over time and is passing down her experiences to somebody else who needs it. We also get some pretty good exchanges between Spike and Rarity that thankfully doesn't rely on his crush on her. It's like the staff are moving away from it since it's gotten so old and are now allowing an actual dynamic between the two. Pinkie gets to be a doctor, Rainbow Dash gets to do some weather patrol, and I especially love AJ's meta moment complaining that no one listens to her. She's literally calling out the show itself for being treated as a background character, and it's one of her greatest moments in the entire show. Overall, she was actually pretty well characterized, being the one to have common sense in the story. It allows her to be funnier and more blunt, which makes her stand out better amongst the cast. Even Discord gets some really nice humor in. He's got some really nice visual gags, including a really clever one where he claims to be watching himself while staring through binoculars and overlapping and coming across the other side of the screen. He even goes so far as to completely destroy the fourth wall with the TV static room. I haven't seen a fourth wall break that clever since Ed, Edd and Eddy. I also really like how he points out that he could magically fix all the problems at the festival but doesn't do it, while suggesting that the main 7 go through actual character growth. It's basically his way of teaching them to not be so reliant on him, which makes for an important challenge for them since they're gonna be ruling Equestria soon. And in spite of it feeling off from last week's episode, Twilight has some really good character growth here. I honestly thought there was going to be a scene where she ended up freaking out and it was just going to be another panic attack, but she actually stays calm and demonstrates a sense of maturity. They actually acknowledge that she was freaking out at the trivia game and that it's an exception to how much she's been working on her mood swings. And throughout the episode, she remains level-headed and doesn't allow herself to get overwhelmed. It's weird, but also amazing just how quickly she managed to overcome her anxiety. Now she feels like an actual leader, taking proper steps to resolve an issue and proving to her friends that she can control her impulses. Her progression into a more more high-ruling role doesn't feel forced like in some previous episodes, and she's truly centered herself and found an actual calm phase, making a turn for the better. Her ending speech was also a pretty deep moment. She reminds everyone of how much Celestia and Luna have done for Equestria and how they can still build a better future without their leadership because of how much they influenced them. It's like back in Season 3 at the end of Magical Mystery Cure where she was looking towards a positive future and expressing hope and anticipation for what may come next. This scene feels like a pretty big reflection of that. It shows how much Twilight has grown over this series, expressing hope for the future and accepting her new position in Equestria. It gives the royal sisters a nice sense of closure, passing down the mantle and able to rest easy knowing the world is in good hands. It feels like proper build-up to the conclusion of the overall story, having a bittersweet and yet very satisfying touch to it. Aside from that, there's still a few more things to appreciate about the episode, like how the increased security is actually carried over from Twilight 7, acting as an obstacle for the villains to overcome. It's a piece of continuity that has a believable influence on the story, and showing how the guards are actually sticking to being more competent, and the story overall is really well strung together. There's no pointless filler, no needless arguing, or any kind of unneeded padding. It gets straight to the point and stays focused on telling its story, which is really impressive considering how much happens in the episode, though there's still a couple of problems in it, particularly some continuity errors and notable plot holes. I really don't get how Tyrek got so buff so quickly after absorbing power from one pony. From what I remember, he had to absorb power from an entire group of ponies in order to get that strong. Now he suddenly has this big leap in strength. And at the end of the episode, they talk about how easy it was to turn the different pony races on each other when that actually didn't happen. I mean, yeah, they got the unicorns to act snotty, but no actual conflict ever occurred between the three pony races. Maybe they had something else in mind, but nothing that really ties into the Wendigo appearing in the trailer. But the biggest problem is how this royal guard never tells anyone how both Cozy Glow and Tyrek escaped from Tartarus. Seriously, both of them threatened Equestria on a countrywide scale and their threat level was immense. Even if he wasn't there to apprehend Cozy Glow, I'm pretty sure he would recognize Tyrek for infamously absorbing the magic of all the ponies in the land. Did they do something to erase his memory of the last 2 hours? Did Tyrek's power sucking cause a rare case of amnesia? How did they make it so the guard doesn't inform anyone that 2 huge criminals are on the loose? The episode doesn't do anything to clarify how they got away and we're just left to assume that he didn't give a shit. It may be one of those times where it's a really small moment, but it ends up raising a huge problem in the story, and it's really distracting. But even so, the Summer Sun Setback was a pretty good episode. It has appropriate humor, good character moments, believable character growth for Twilight, and a satisfying lead-in to the events of the overall ending. It's a standout episode of the season for sure, and one that properly builds anticipation for what's coming next. So until next time, take care of yourselves and stay awesome. This is Map signing out.